So how are you?
I am doing awesome. It's so good to see you.
Same here. Good to
Uh,
be here with you and all our listening audience this morning.
yes, beautiful. It's about to start streaming. Now we're live. Yeah, it'll take a little minute before it appear on Facebook because, of course, we just started the stream and it takes about 3 or 4 minutes. So we'll be going on a while before they catch up, but they will be there. Praise the Lord. And so what are we talking about this morning? Maybe we should say a word of prayer even before we get started. How's that?
Sure.
Father, come and bless and direct our ministry today. I'm so thankful, Lord, for Dr. Kathy and for her allowing you to use her to reach all the thousands of people who need this very vital information. Bless and direct our conversation now, we ask in Jesus' name. Amen. So, Doc,
Amen.
this morning we
Awesome.
are talking about.
We're still on the topic of COVID-19 because it's
Mhm.
so important and so relevant. And I wanted to first of all look at latest developments because we have to stay on top of what this virus is doing. It's still very new and we are learning about it. So if you don't mind allowing me to share the screen, I would love to show you a few things. Okay, excellent.
I think we were talking about vitamin D the last time we were together and the impact that that would have, was it? If I remember correctly.
Vitamin D is very important. We were speaking last time about hydrotherapy
Oh, yes, that's
and
where we dropped stopped off.
yes, and how it has been shown to be possibly useful for what we're dealing with here. So let me just go. All right, this is where I'm going to start today. Actually, no, I'm going to start here. I wanted to give you an update on some of the new things that we're seeing with coronavirus. So we spoke a few days ago about the fact that there are new symptoms that we're seeing in individuals like rashes, some rashes on the skin, some on the toes, on the fingers, and we're wondering if those could be a presentation of COVID-19. So that's being observed. And now you may have heard of the latest bizarre presentations of young people presenting to the hospital with blood clots to their brain. They're having strokes. They're having clots in their legs, their arms. And this is very unusual for young, otherwise healthy people to have these presentations. And so the thought is COVID-19 linked to these increased blood clots? Well, we know that with infections, we are prone to more blood clots because the infection can damage the lining of the vessel wall that allows platelets to stick together more and cause clotting. So if this virus could potentially be causing that, and if it is, we have to be so vigilant to do everything that we can to decrease blood clots. We don't know for sure what it will take to stop this blood clotting, but just thinking about the natural ways to keep the blood thin, those would be useful to employ. For example, drinking adequate water. Studies already show that men who drink adequate water first thing in the morning have a decreased risk of clotting, decreased risk of stroke and heart attacks. So we know that if you increase your water intake, you can potentially help thin your blood. So I would remind us to be vigilant and remind myself, because that's that's one of my struggles is to get enough water. I always have this water container with me, and I usually, get to about 3 8 ounces, 5 8 ounces some days, but to get to the 10 8 ounces sometimes is a struggle. And so even now I need to be more vigilant to drink my water, keep my blood thin. And I want to encourage us all to do the same thing. You want to aim for 8 to 10 8-ounce glasses. So, maybe up to even 80 ounces if possible a day. Also, keep moving. keep exercising. When you exercise, you keep the blood flowing. It helps to decrease the risk of blood clotting. We know that when we're sedentary for a long time, let's say if we're on a long plane ride or we're on a long car ride from one state to the next, let's say if you're going from New York to Florida, you're at an increased risk of blood clots if you don't move around. So you need to stop the car, usually move around, pump those calves to keep the blood flowing. Well, now what's happening? We're on home isolation. We're staying home. Some people refuse to even peek out their window because they're so careful and they're not moving around. They're not exercising. We have to find a way to exercise. Home isolation is important. Yes, stay at home orders are important because we need to stop the spread, but we don't want to have secondary issues because we're just stuck inside all day long. I strongly advocate for going outside in the sunshine and to maintain social distancing. I'm not saying to go in crowded regions and to start, form groups of folks and spread this virus more. I still stress social distancing or physical distancing, at least 6 feet apart from people who don't live in your home, but still go outside, maintain social distancing, and walk in the sunshine. Breathe deeply of the fresh air. Go on a trail, go to your local park. And if you're in a city environment where it's impossible to maintain social distancing outside of your house, well, be active in your house and be vigilant about this. Jump around in your house, turn on some music, move your arms, move your legs, but you have to keep the blood flowing. You have to keep the muscles moving. So that's very important. Increase your water intake, increase your exercise, and eat foods that are known to keep your blood thin. We know that garlic and onions keep your blood thin. Not only do they help with your immune system, but they help with blood thinning. So get more of those in your diet. Add more garlic and onion to your foods, not just for sprinkling, but really for medicinal purposes. And take your tonic booster, which we spoke about before.
That's amazing. We stopped at hydrotherapy.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit more about hydrotherapy. I think where we paused, you were talking about the fact that hydrotherapy was shown to boost the immune system
Yes,
back
yes,
in the
yes.
1819 flu. And so
Yes, in the 1918.
1919.
I know it gets confusing. The 1918 flu, yes,
Hmm.
yes. Just to quickly recap, that flu was deadly. 6% death rate, 6.7% death rate in army hospitals. But when you look at how Adventists were treating individuals with the Spanish flu, their death rate was 1.3%, drastically less. And we look at what they did. They used bed rest, a very nourishing diet, or they were careful about the diet, and hydrotherapy. And in one particular center, 90 of the people who became ill, who were young, did not die, and that was just astonishing. And so we spoke about how could hydrotherapy possibly help, and we looked at the immune system. And on this slide you see, on this side here, the white cells that are the ones that initially go out to fight and kill the virus, the natural killer cell. That guy is amazing. He just attacks anything foreign, and this guy, natural killer cell, is responsible for defending us from all initial invasion. The macrophages, the monocytes, those white cells go out and their job is to destroy. But it appears that this coronavirus knows how to circumvent these guys. So that's why for a period of time you have the infection, the virus is replicating and you don't even realize it because you don't have any obvious symptoms yet. And then by the time you do, you're very sick. And these guys didn't get a chance to do what they were intended to do. We know that fever, when you have a fever, it's a response of the body to fight infection. When you have a fever, these guys are increased. They increase natural killer cells. They activate macrophages. They help the white cells to be more prepared to fight. And That's where hydrotherapy comes in. Hydrotherapy is a way to induce a pseudo fever, a fake fever, and to help your body increase these white cells, increase the way that they function and behave. So that's where we left off with hydrotherapy. And we said, you asked me, can hydrotherapy be done at home? And yes, it can be done at home and it can be used in your armamentarium, in your toolkit to fight COVID-19. Now, the first hydrotherapy I want to talk about is washing your hands. That is a form of hydrotherapy, right? We're using water for an intended therapeutic purpose. And here I show you a picture of a dad and daughter washing hands because I want to remind us to really work with our children to let them understand what proper hand washing looks like. Sometimes when I look at my kids, in the kitchen, we're about to cook, and I say, okay, guys, go wash your hands before we cook. And they just go and they and they're done. And I'm like, did you wash your hands? That wasn't really a hand washing. That was just hand wetting. So I have to go over with them. Let's get the soap, put the soap on the hands and rub. There needs to be some friction involved and keep it under the water, lather, and go for about 20 seconds. I have them sing the ABC song or Happy Birthday to Me song so that they can realize really how much time needs to go into washing your hands properly. And you have to wash in between the grooves of your fingers and go all around the hands. And really, hand washing should be done carefully and thoroughly because you want to kill this virus. And don't forget to add the soap. So that's the first hydrotherapy that we need to employ on a regular basis. All right, so one other one that we can do at home is a contrast shower. Now, that term may not be familiar to many people. It's probably something that you may have heard of, but you don't really understand what it means or how it works. So we're going to go over that. Now, in a contrast shower, you're employing the use of hot and cold water. Now, when you have a shower and just use, let's say, one of the items, let's say you just take a cold shower. A cold shower helps to make you more alert. You know, it helps to freshen your mind and to really, boost your metabolism. If you just take a warm shower, that helps to relax you, to reduce anxiety, to open up your nares. Sometimes when you go in the shower and you have a full sinuses, just taking a warm shower can really help drain the sinuses and open up your breathing again. So they have their benefits when you use just hot or just cold. But when you use them together, alternating, it really helps to increase your white cell activity and your blood flow. So the way you would do it is you go in the shower and first you bathe with your soap to remove your dirt, whatever skin toxins there are, just remove those. And then when you finish up, you go for your hot and cold shower. You start with hot, and that's the longest phase. 3 minutes, stand under the hot water. And remember, you're inducing a pseudo fever. You're increasing your core body temperature. And as you do this, remember, your white cells are becoming more activated. Your natural killer cells are increasing. Your macrophages are being prepared to look for and destroy invaders. So 3 minutes of hot, and then you turn the temperature to cold for 1 minute. Now, when you turn it to cold for 1 minute, it causes vasoconstriction. Your blood vessels clamp down. And so that has two benefits. It's helping to kind of lock in that heat that you've produced in a more central fashion so you don't have heat dissipating from your pores. And it also helps to shunt blood away from the area that it was just located, concentrated at. So you're having increased blood flow up and down, in and out, throughout your entire vasculature, And after you do that 1 minute of cold, you go back to 3 minutes of hot. So you have 3 cycles of this: hot, 3 minutes, cold, 30 seconds. Sorry, not 1 minute, 30 seconds. Hot, 3 minutes, cold, 30 seconds. Hot, 3 minutes, and you finish on cold for 30 seconds. And that allows you to keep the warmth internally. You put on your towel quickly, you wipe off quickly, and then put on warm clothes. Keep your body warm again. And after this, you should ideally rest and allow your body to continue its action of allowing the white cells to search for and destroy invading organisms, cancer cells, things that don't belong there. Have you ever tried this before, Pastor?
Yeah, actually, used to be a common practice of mine in the shower.
Oh, excellent. Now, to be honest with you, when I do this, the cold part, whoo, it really gets to me. How do you manage the cold, that 30
Well,
seconds of cold?
it seems to me though, after a while, you can't tell it's
Mhm.
cold because it
Mhm.
feels so good. I mean, maybe because I was doing it for years, but yeah, most of the time we go from hot to cold because I even noticed that I endure the winter better. I can, like folks from the other culture, they go out and I can do the same. And I think it came from just doing that hydrotherapy. Somehow just going from hot to cold, I found it just made me not as conscious just how cold it get. Sometimes when it's very cold, it really hits you, but that's what I found over time. Just kind of got accustomed to it.
Excellent. I love to hear that. That is so good. It is a good practice to do this every single day because you're helping your immune system to function better. And so even now, as individuals are thinking, what can they do to strengthen their immune system? A contrast shower is something to make a habit. And one tip I can give for some folks that may not be used to that change it is to put the temperature to one that you can tolerate. So for myself, the hot I can tolerate real hot and I love it steaming hot. When I go to the cold, I can't do it an abrupt cold. I have to first do it kind of cold and then back to hot. Then the next time I do it a little colder, then back to hot. And the last one is like, okay, now it's cold and I can tolerate it even better. So I gradually increase the temperature. I have not been doing it for years, but if I were to do it like you have been doing it, I'm sure that I would be able to tolerate it better. But it's such a good practice to do it every single day. It should be something that we do all the time. That's excellent.
Yeah, I find that makes me feel great. But what about sick people? Can they actually do this?
Yes, yes. So if you are feeling the initial symptoms of a viral infection or some kind of cold, you should do this right away, instantly, because it will help to fight. If you are sick and you're, feeling too lethargic to really go into the shower and stand up, there are other things that you can do. You can do treatments where you're sitting down or where you're lying down. And I think some of the next slides will show that. All right, let me look at the hot foot bath. So let's say that you don't feel strong enough to stand in the shower and do something like a contrast therapy. You can do a hot foot bath. Now, for a hot foot bath, you're putting your feet in a pail or tub of hot water. The temperature ideally should be about 104 degrees to 110 degrees um, to help to induce that false fever, that pseudo fever. You have a chair. It should not be a metal chair, just a wooden chair or something that has more cushioning so that the chair doesn't get too hot and then your bum gets too hot and then you can't continue. So, pick a chair that won't get too hot. And you submerge your feet into the hot pail. Ideally, it should come up to your ankles or a little higher if possible. And you keep it in that pail for about 10 to 15 minutes. Now, when you're doing this, it's best to cover your whole body if possible, because that allows you to avoid being chilled. When you're doing hydrotherapy, you don't want to have any parts of your body being excessively chilled, because that defeats the purpose. You want the whole body to be warmed up. So if you can wrap yourself in some kind of a sheet or big blanket that can maybe cover the pail as well, you go in your chair, you sit down, put your feet in the hot water, and just sit there for about 15 to 20 minutes and allow your blood vessels to dilate in the feet and allow your whole body to get warm. And then when you're done with this, you dry off your feet, get dressed very warmly. I keep stressing that because you want to keep your extremities warm to help your blood to circulate better. And then you rest if you're able to stop and take a break and allow your body to continue the healing process.
So, go ahead, Doc. I thought you might have been done.
Sure. So this here is another example that can be tried if you're in bed. Let's say you can't stand in the shower, you can't sit on a chair, but you're in bed. You're having a hard time getting up. You're really sick and out of it. Obviously, you'll need help for this one. If you're helping to care for somebody who is quite ill, maybe they have COVID-19, maybe they have a bad case of the flu, maybe they have a bad pneumonia. They're ill, some infection, some chronic illness. They can be in the bed lying down, and you can just take the pail, put it on the bed, pour the hot water into it, and then lift up their legs very carefully and place it in the hot water. Now, a few things to be careful about. You want to test the water with your elbow or the back of your hand before you put their feet in. You don't want to burn them. You don't want to burn yourself. And then also you want to keep the body covered. So while they're doing this hot foot bath therapy, cover their body with a warm blanket, a warm sheet, so that the entire patient, the entire person is kept warm. And this can be done for about 20 to 30 minutes. And depending on how severe their illness is, maybe 2 or 3 times a day.
So, anyhow, the question is, hydrotherapy is designed to boost the immune system. Is that correct?
To help it function in a more optimal way, increase white cell activity. Yes.
Are there any other benefits of hydrotherapy?
Yes, yes. I'm glad you asked that question. So let us look at this therapy here. This hot foot bath therapy is quite good for other things than just increasing the white cells and increasing your immune system. This therapy can be used for migraines, headaches. This is one I use in my own home. If I'm coming down with a headache and I feel it early on, I put my foot in a hot foot bath, and then I put a cold compress on my head. We believe that with migraines, it can be due to increased congestion at sites in the brain. So the cold compress helps to diffuse, cause vasoconstriction, which is what the caffeine does when you take, caffeine products help with migraines. It causes vasoconstriction and to help decrease the congestion. And then the hot foot bath helps also to bring more of that blood flow down to the legs and away from congested areas. So this works very well for headaches, migraines. It also works well for folks who have bronchitis and pneumonia, and individuals who have pelvic menstrual type cramps and pain. It helps with congestion in the lungs and in the pelvic area. So it can be used for that, for those things as well. This is also an excellent treatment for folks who have poor sleep, because it really relaxes and calms you. So if you have insomnia, poor sleep, you can't get a good night's rest, and you've done things like trying to maintain a proper sleep pattern, going to bed at the same time, waking up at the same time. You've already tried things like changing your diet to a whole food, plant-based, unprocessed diet, because that can affect your sleep too. You've already tried things like trying to decrease stress and anxiety. It's not thinking about problems over and over again. You can add this to your regimen to help with good sleep. It really helps to calm and relax you. So that helps with sleep as well.
That's beautiful. I didn't realize that hydrotherapy could be used for that kind of stuff. It's awesome.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And you know what? There are so many other applications that I can talk about, but I don't want to rush any of these explanations because this is new to so many people and they need to really understand how it works and get a chance to process it well. So I'm going to stop here, and on Friday, I will go over maybe two or three more different kinds of hydrotherapy that can be done on the chest, the throat, can be done for arthritis. And so we'll talk about those then. But before you go and try the ones that I have showed you today, keep in mind that you should be very careful if you have diabetes or decreased sensation in the feet. Let's say you have neuropathy, your nerves don't work that well, or you have blood flow problems in the legs so you can't feel well. Be careful. Don't make the water too hot because you won't be able to tell if you're getting burnt. So you need your water to be a lower temperature than the 104 degrees that I said earlier.
Well, Doc, you had good timing. I think we just about to hit the 10 o'clock mark. So
Okay.
thank you. I appreciate you sharing with us, and we look forward to seeing you on tomorrow. So
On Friday.
until Friday, this is the doctor and the preacher saying so long and God bless.
Okay. Thank you very much, Pastor. Take care.